Deputy Mayor Bissonnette.
Here.
Mayor Stewart.
Here.
Councilor Ormsby.
Here.
Councilor Bishop.
Here.
Councilor Rankin.
Here.
Presentation of town council recognitions, we have none. Item 4 is consider minutes of previous meetings. Jacob had emailed the updated version of that. Everybody saw that. Would council like to proceed?
Motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Item 5 is receive and review correspondence. We have none. Item 6 is ordinances to consider. We have first reading of the Bucksport Waste Facility licensing ordinance. Some of the changes were instituted, if everybody has had a chance to look at that. And if there's no questions on that, any questions from the audience on that? If not, what we'll do is we'll go to a second reading and a public hearing at our next meeting. Hearing and seeing none. Item 7 is discussion items. First is an update from the Services Committee meeting tonight on 6/22/2023. Who's the chair of that? Ed?
Yep, we discussed the fire and EMS schedule staffing change from going to a 56-hour to a 42-hour week because of the morale and the turnover in the department. I think we've lost, I think they said 7 in the last 2 years, just because we're the only one in the area left doing the 42.
56.
Left doing the 56. It would require roughly, I think Sue said about 300,000 a year more. Well, not technically more, because 100,000 is already incorporated in the budget. So this year, if we started it, if it got approved, September 1st would start. We'd have to come up with like 150,000 possibly from the ARPA fund. And the committee approved it, suggests to council that it goes on the next agenda for discussion.
One of the questions I had, so if folks are going from 53 hours of pay to 42, how are they gonna take upwards of $15,000 pay cut?
The proposal is that
And I guess where would that be savings also that would be incorporated into it?
that 100,000 includes the fact that they're being paid for 42 hours instead of 56 hours. But the rate isn't.
When we did the budget, we budgeted 52 weeks at 53 hours at an hourly rate. So when you look at the budget, I'll just look at Chris Connor. He was 52 weeks at 53 hours at his rate was $70-something thousand that was budgeted. Is his rate now going to be 52 weeks at 42 hours at the same rate? So it would equate to a $15,000 pay cut?
It's not the same rate. It's a melded rate based on the 42-hour rates of others.
But Chris has got to be one of the highest paid folks there.
He is, because he's the longest term. With the rates that are proposed in this, it's about a between $8,000 and $9,000 pay reduction for.
Where are those rates? We haven't seen those, have we?
No, you have not. This proposal is this, but if you move it to the council for further discussion, I'll show you all the numbers that came in, that created this. But the reductions are based on the fact that it's about a week less work a month with going from, it's 56 hours less work a month than when you go from 56 to 42.
There's a significant comp time factor in that as well with that
Yes.
56.
Right, but I'm looking at hourly rate that we've negotiated to pay somebody,
Yeah.
and at 53 hours. And if they're only gonna work 42, we've already negotiated the rate, so we're reopening the contract to renegotiate a rate to a higher rate?
The opening of the contract is to accommodate the schedule and the rate the same way we did when they went to 56 hours. with the whole rate and all that prior to.
But our,
Yes, the rate changes.
Right, our argument that we've heard, and again, I'm asking, because the argument we've heard is that the hourly rates we had were one of the reasons before when we couldn't hire anybody, so we've raised those rates. And now we're hearing that the hours, which I get, but the hourly rates should still be comparable to what they asked for before, so why would we not just pay for 42 hours at the rate that we've bargained for?
Because those rates aren't comparable to the 42-hour rates that people are being paid. It's not 100%. The proposal is not to go to divide 56. If you multiply 56 times 52, you don't divide that by 52 and then divide it by 42. That's not the rate you get. It's not because the reduction in the amount of wages that over what they were getting before is significant across.
But it's also a significant reduction in hours worked,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So we're gonna reduce the hours but increase the pay,
Yes.
and you'll have that for us?
Yes, I
if
do.
this goes forward? Okay. Any other questions on that? So the committee was
To put it on the next agenda for discussion.
And I also have those rates and for all 10 communities that are in our region that we compared this to, and we're looking at the proposal.
Okay. Next is discussion of discontinuance of the remainder of unconstructed Second Street.
A number of years ago, and I don't know how many, but it's been within the last 8 years because it happened when I was here. The council discontinued a portion of Second Street that went between two houses, if you remember that, when that occurred. Well, the survey of Second Street that's up here.
Yeah, I can speak, I mean,
If you could speak.
I've seen old maps, and Second Street was contemplated to come up and then turn to this road. Well, we never gave up this part of the road, and that's why there's two parties here that would like to see it discontinued so that it reverts back to abutters, because as you can see, the bulkhead on the house on top is inside the contemplated street, and it's right up on the other house.
And this is the edge of the
This is left field.
baseball field.
Yeah, and it's all ledge, you can see up in the woods, it's all ledge up through there. And if someday we're gonna put a road up there, that's where you'd end up, is where those townhouses are.
I'm sorry to be a pain. Can you point to what you're talking to up
Sure.
there?
Sure. There's an old map that I've seen, a couple of them, that Second Street used to come up and turn down here. It never got constructed.
And then come back onto McDonald Street.
Come back onto McDonald. It never got constructed. I believe this was probably eliminated, but I'm not sure. We eliminated down here and below. But what these two parties are looking for is to see us give up this, because without it, you know, they've got a contemplated street. That's the bulkhead right there. You know, it's in it.
I'm gonna ask a question and stop me before I ask it.
I don't have a clue what you mean there.
We had an executive session a couple weeks ago that involved some of the committee.
Oh, sure.
No, this,
Oh,
It's on the wrong side of McDonald's.
no, yes, you should stop, but, look at the townhouse, Peter.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, is it doesn't include any of that.
No, the seminary property is above that. You can see the line right there off left field. That's the seminary property. There's
all right.
long frontage
I
on
was
that.
trying,
There's long frontage.
knowing where
on that.
Second Street is and where you were talking about, I just was
Yep,
asking the question.
yep, fair enough.
Okay.
I'll ask a question. There are no, okay, so at present, that is a contemplated street. What does that mean for the town of Bucksport right now? I'll tell you why I'm asking that question. It might simplify the answer. Do we anticipate any potential deed issues with any of the property owners that abut this? That's why I'm asking the question.
Well, the one above has, for as long as I can remember, used that contemplated street for a driveway. And there are two parties here looking to do it that are the abutters. Did I
And
answer your
that's
question?
it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Just-
that's it. There's nobody else, okay.
And anybody, Joe,
Can I say something? First of all.
I need you to come up
Oh,
here.
yes,
and
I'm
do it.
happy to do that. Thank you.
If you could just
So-
give us your name and where you're from.
My name is Jody Aragona, and I own this
Down
property.
below, yeah.
And what you're looking at is my preliminary survey that I forwarded. So, I tried to, on the advice of my surveyor, call a lawyer about this first, talked to them at length 3 times, gave them, this person's deed, which was the person who's selling it now, me and the apartments as proposed abutters, and they didn't call me back. And I tried 3 times over 2 seasons, and no one called me back.
The abutters, you mean? I just want to make sure.
No, the lawyer.
Oh,
The
gotcha.
lawyer who was the only lawyer to do this because I would be wasting my time and money with any other lawyer who would have to learn the ropes of figuring this kind of situation out.
Right.
So their reason was, we have to make sure that there are no conflicts of interest for us, and we'll put you to the top of the pile. And I heard that for months and months and months. So here I am, now that we are basically 2 new parties. That house is under contract, and I haven't moved into mine because it's been under renovations. We're doing this old house style, not the while you were out version of fixing up a house. So I just wanted you to know, like, that's my preliminary survey. And I'm sorry, I'm nervous. My surveyor was like, you may not want me to put those pins in until you just talk to the town. So I called the town manager, and that's how we're kind of here. So I don't know if this reverts back to us, or if they have, like, as an abutter, some say in that as well, but I'm hoping that since that's their hatch to the basement and this is my corner post, and I'm gonna have a hot tub there, and I don't want kids coming down.
That's right.
Just so you know where
Okay,
I'm coming
so,
from.
okay, so I guess my question, I want to make sure I'm not assuming anything here, so forgive me if I'm being extra careful. The town retains no ownership right to any of the property in question, correct? Or does it? Does the town, where it says contemplated street, does the town own that property, or do the property owners that are in question own that property?
I would believe the town probably has some interest in it. I don't know about ownership, but there's nobody else to own it.
So right now that, okay, so on the tax map, how does that reflect that little parcel of land?
Since this was brought forward, it reflects it. I don't know what
It
it
reflects
was
that the
before.
town of Bucksport owns.
And
the
I've seen it
property.
on 1875 maps and 1880 maps.
Okay,
But what we did with Second Street with Donna Lemieux and
Mm-hmm.
was we, although Todd said, take it all, it reverted to abutters, at the center line.
So it would split at the center line?
Yeah.
To go back, okay.
because, so, and as I look at that map, I see 3 abutters. I see the lady that just spoke, the people up above, and then, of course, the property behind. Okay.
I don't know about the behind, do you? So, I mean, I don't see why they would,
No?
you'd protrude them into 2 others.
Okay.
So were you here when we did this type of thing, the Forest Hill?
Yes.
Yes, we were, with the Bayous.
Yep.
and, Yep.
So this is a similar, I'm just, again.
More
I'm-
of these things that were on paper somewhere, but never got built.
Or were built with buildings blocking them, and the shape of the landscape changed, so nothing was possible?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So how did that work on?
Bayous?
Yeah, I mean, that was.
Well, we did Vail, and we just recently did one of the deeds to one of the people that, when we said it was just gonna go to the, each side, we left it to them to pay for the survey work necessary to establish that line.
Yep.
And one of the, you know, we just signed a deed for it
Yeah.
here at a recent meeting, was one of those. The Vayus already did theirs, those people did, and there's one more that has not yet done that work, but we left it, the town didn't take on the legal cost of doing this. The town voted, and then people had the survey work done that resulted in,
So could we turn this into a similar situation?
yeah, I thought we were done with Second Street when we did Second Street before, but apparently we're not done with Second Street because it's got another leg
That's
that's,
the second Street.
Right, yeah.
no, it's the third Second Street, actually.
Okay,
Really beautiful.
are we aware of any deeds that have an easement in them for this property? And I'm being, okay, all right.
The abutters don't, how's that?
Yeah, okay, that's actually the way yep, nope, got it, okay. And all the abutters have been, they're aware of this. The abutters in question are aware that we're
Excuse me. Yes, we own the other side of the
Perfect.
butter at 58.
That answers my question.
Yes.
What about Knoxville?
Well, that's, yeah, up behind, I mean,
Have they been notified, or?
but I think that the conversation a moment ago was, are they actually in a butter? Okay. No further questions.
Ma'am, the second abutter, if you don't mind coming up and saying what you need, I just wanna ask you, what's your take on this? What would you like to see happen with it? We have one half.
Well,
of
to
it.
divide it amongst the two abutters, because obviously you can't put a road through there, there's buildings on the other side, so.
So you're in agreement with him?
Definitely,
with
yeah.
him, okay.
Yeah, there's actually a pin right in the middle there, would be easy to just enlarge or survey and have ours done to that.
Okay.
Split it.
And that's showing kind of what you use as a driveway right now, right? Right
Yeah,
here.
where this is here.
And
this is
that's your
just-
basement.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's their house right
Okay.
here. Pretty tight. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions?
So, I guess the question is if whether you want me to put this on an agenda for action, or you want me, for resolve, or what you wanna do with this item.
Do you need a motion for that, or just a?
Well, someone needs to say you,
I guess the question is, do we want this at the next council meeting to be an agenda item to discuss about
splitting this.
the discontinuance of the remainder of this contemplated street to split between the two abutters?
I'll make a motion for it, but
You don't need to make a motion.
I don't, okay, yes, let's put it on the next one.
Yep, no issue.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
next agenda item is resolve 2023-62 to approve the purchase of heat pumps for the town office and ice rink building. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions? You have the bids in front of you that were on the resolve. Valley Home Services for $57.50 for the town office, includes $8,400 in rebates, and for the ice rink building, $4,320, and includes $500 in rebates.
I had several questions on the ice rink building, and Sue shed some light on that there may even be more.
The current rebates for municipal buildings that are not accessory dwellings is $2,800 per heat pump. And Efficiency Maine originally said that the ice rink building would be considered an accessory building, but Valley submitted additional information showing that there's an office in that building, et cetera. So, it may be that the rebate can be the 2,800, which is similar to the 3 rebates that we have for the ones at the town office, and that's why it's written this way, that it would be no more than 43, but it may be less if we get the additional.
So it could be like $2,020.
That's correct. And there's also an error in the resolve, it's that it should be town office for $57.50 to be funded from town office reserve in the last paragraph, not $5,700. The bid was $57.50.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Opposed? And item 9 is resignations, appointments, assignments, and elections. We have none. Item 10 is approval of quick claims, discharges, and deeds. First 3 are for Kelly J. Albert. First one's map 047, lot 013-001 for a tax lien discharge, 6/15/2021. Second for her is map 47, lot 14, tax lien discharge, 6/15/2021. The third is Kelly J. Albert, map 47, lot 015, tax lien discharge, 6/15/2021. How the council like to proceed on hers? For
Motion approved.
Second.
all those in favor? Opposed? Next is Eugene C. Drake and Lisa L. Drake, map 18, lot 20, tax lien discharge, 6/15/2021. How the council like to proceed on that one?
Motion approved.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Third is Lisa E. Ormsby, map 32, lot 056, sewer lien discharge, 09/28/2021. How the council like to proceed?
Motion approved.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Item 11 is the town manager report.
I have one. I do it right here. Okay, the pool has been drained. Pressure testing of the return line is happening, if not this evening, then tomorrow, to determine if there's a cracked or broken line. What we have discovered through the process of evaluating this is that even once the pool got below the scuppers with the return lines, water continued to go from the pool, which indicates, and we have also seen cracks that have opened up in the asphalt. The pool held water for the first several days it was filled, and then it proceeded not to hold water anymore. And we're having the lines and main drain lines pressure tested to make sure that it's not cracks in the lines, that it is the cracks in the shell of the pool that's causing the loss of water, since it's continuing. If those pressure tests are fine, we will be doing a resurfacing of the inside of the pool and sealing and painting that and reopening, which is not a long process, but is what our next steps would be. The person who is performing courtesy boat inspections on weekends at Silver Lake reports that the program is going really well and that people are very pleasant and cooperative. I want to thank Public Works for placing a picnic table and an umbrella there for the use of the inspector between boats, but also for others who use that area. The Bucksport Police Department will be hosting a town hall meeting on Wednesday, June 28th at the Bucksport Middle School Clean Performing Arts Center from 6 to 8 p.m. We are hosting this meeting to facilitate a conversation and education on the ongoing drug epidemic that is affecting communities throughout the country. We will have members from law enforcement, health professionals, educators, and recovery specialists available to discuss this serious issue in Hancock County and in Bucksport. This meeting will also allow us to hear from the public with comments, concerns, and questions that our panel can provide insight on. And most importantly, it will allow us to have a conversation on how we can all fight this epidemic together. There is no entry fee, and Public Safety looks forward to seeing everyone next Wednesday who can come. A reminder, 4th of July is fast approaching, that the discharge or display of any consumer fireworks or any other fireworks in the town of Bucksport is prohibited, except for any such firework that may be included in a firework display permitted by the state of Maine pursuant to 8 MRSA 227A, and except for toy pistols, toy canes, toy guns, or other devices in which paper caps or plastic caps containing 25/100 grams or less of explosive compound are used. Less than 20/100 grams of explosive matter, sparklers that do not contain magnesium chlorates or perchlorates, or signal, antique, or replica cannons if no projectile is fired. Persons found to be in violation of any provision of the policy shall be subject to a fine of not less than $50 and not more than $500, plus court costs for any one offense. We publish this every year and would ask that, because for people with PTSD and people with pets, many pets, the fireworks are not good. Economic Development Director Rich Rotella and I met with representatives from Senator Collins' office today to discuss the town dock project, as well as to update them on all the projects that Bucksport has been working on. It was a very good meeting. And in addition, it was a great look back over all the work the town has been doing to update its infrastructure. They were very impressed with all of the project that the town has been involved with since the closure of the mill. And the spring fountain. Police are investigating significant vandalism that occurred at the Spring Fountain Motel earlier this week. Windows were broken, doors were kicked in, and walls were damaged. If you've driven by, you can't help but notice the big windows over the office have been broken. And finally, the PPI project, which is our MDOT grant project for rehabbing Main Street. Project draft will be available in the next 2 weeks and will be brought to the council for consideration. If this project is to move forward, the council would have to vote to send it to referendum by September 1st of this year in order to be on the November ballot. And that's all.
Any questions? Item 12 is set public hearings. We will have a public hearing on the Bucksport Waste Facility Licensing Ordinance at our next scheduled council meeting, 7 p.m. Item 13 is discussion of items not on the agenda. Anybody from the public have anything that's not on the agenda?
Hi, my name is Stuart St. Peter. I wanted to get an update on the solar farm that was being built by Americas. I don't know if there's any updates or anything.
Amoresco started site work on the project, but that's where they are at the moment. They've not started an installation, but they did start some site work at that location.
Anybody else from the public have anything? Anybody on the council?
Just curious, update on the animal shelter. Is there anything happening with that right now?
They're getting a preliminary design so that you can have something to look at for that too.
Okay.
That's the other thing that would have to go if you decided to on a referendum by the beginning of September.
Do you have anything else?
Yes, I had a question last week about the meeting that I had with the appeals board.
Yep.
And I was wondering if you had had a chance to review that meeting.
I did, and I want to discuss that in executive session.
Good.
Anything else? All right. Any committee assignments or anything we need to schedule?
We have the first meeting in July. The Regulatory Review Committee was going to meet. Luann Wasson had asked to meet with them in regard to her proposal for a solar farm on her property that's on 1 and 46. That
Yep.
that one. She had asked for a chance to speak to the council, I believe. I told you some time ago she had asked for that, and she's got all her information together and would like to have a regulatory review committee meeting at that first meeting in July, so that would be 6 o'clock on the 8th. Would that work for everybody?
Anything else?
Yeah, can we get a infrastructure committee meeting for the purpose of adding some stuff to the waterfront?
What does that even mean?
It's been a long day.
I was so the words just didn't want to roll off the tongue. I was approached by someone about adding some swings to the waterfront like they have down in Belfast. They're sponsored by local businesses. I believe Belfast has 6 or 7 of those, and I explained to the person that we would need to go through some type of committee to have that, and I think infrastructure is probably the right place to go.
6:30 on that day.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you, sir.
What date? Did you say the 8th or the 6th? No.
So 6 for regulatory review and 6:30 for infrastructure.
What day?
The
Sixth.
sixth.
The 6th, okay, sorry.
No.
No, our next meeting is the 13th.
13th.
Okay.
13th.
7.
So the 13th is
13th.
the.
All right, at this time, take a motion to go into executive session for Title I, Chapter 13, Section 405.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Folks, we're going into executive session, so if we could clear the, we will not be taking any action.
We'll be dismissing from the.
We'll be dismissing from the